Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's come to. Riots in LA, American flags burning, Mexican flags waving, cops retreating, and Trump just seized control of the National Guard. Let that sink in. This isn't just chaos. This looks like a foreign-backed insurrection on American soil. You've got people yelling, "This ain't my flag," while setting the stars and stripes on fire. And what's Gavin Newsom doing? Nothing. So as usual, leave it up to Trump to save LA. Let's get into it.
Riots in Los Angeles are continuing. Over this weekend, they escalated to a rather extreme degree. Around 56 individuals arrested. We've got videos of police vehicles smashed and destroyed. Waymo vehicles set ablaze. Donald Trump has seized command of the California National Guard and deployed them to the streets in order to quell the riots. There is now a conversation about whether or not Trump may invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy the Marines, but there's a lot more to it than just a riot. Now, of course, some people are saying posse comitatus. The military cannot be deployed for local law enforcement in these United States. This would not be local law enforcement, ladies and gentlemen. The United States has been invaded. We have images of men waving Mexican flags, men saying, "This ain't my flag," as they burn the American flag and march with Colombian and Mexican flags. What we are dealing with is insurgency under the guise of protest, state sanctioned. What's happening right now is Democrats cheat using illegal immigration. They bring in as many non-citizens as possible into places like California. They do not enforce the law against them, which violates federal law. They then have these individuals counted in the census to bolster their congressional seats, giving them a disproportionate amount of votes in Congress, as well as the Electoral College. That is the will of the American voter subverted by criminal invasion. And California, not the only state, they're in on it. The riots that we're seeing right now are sanctioned by the state. Make no mistake. And I'll break it down exactly how and why. Gavin Newsom will not enforce against these protests because these are a de facto arm of the state. Now, we predicted this to the T a year ago. I sat down with Sam Cedar. Hey, Sam. Remember what I said? Do you think that Donald Trump will use the military to enforce deportations? He agreed. Do you think Democrats will just let it happen? Did anyone think otherwise? What we are seeing now is California can't formally defy the federal government for a variety of reasons. I mean, they could try, but Trump would just command the National Guard over him, and that's exactly what we're seeing. The reason the riots aren't being shut down, the police are backing down, and the reason why Gavin Newsom is saying, "Get the National Guard out of my state," or more so, restore the command to the state so he can rescind them, is because the rioters serve as effectively corsairs. What does that mean? In the colonial wartime period, the British Crown, for instance, would say the French are really getting on my nerves. They're doing trade with our adversaries. We need to shut them down, but we don't want war. So what they would do is they would issue letters of marque and reprisal, letters of marque, and they would give these privateers, private battleships owned by fleets, individuals, captains, and they'd say, "Look, if you go in the high seas and start bombing the French, we're going to look the other way. We'll take care of you. Anything you steal is yours, but don't fly our flag." The Crown, various nations would do this. They would tell private battleship owners to fly whatever flag they wanted, just not theirs. That way, when they bombed the enemies of that nation, they would say, "What? We would never. Those are random people." And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. The National Guard clashing with violent rioters. And my friends, we've got it all for you. Let me show you this.
Tim Pool is correct. What you are seeing are not protests. This is a coordinated rebellion shielded by identity politics. Democrats cheat using illegal immigration. And there it is. That's the entire blueprint. Flood sanctuary states, refuse to enforce the law, then weaponize the census to get more electoral power. It's not democracy, it's demographic warfare. Ask yourself, why would someone waving a foreign flag be treated as a peaceful protester? Because the left doesn't want unity, they want control. That right there is your red pill. The riots are useful. The lawlessness is engineered, and Gavin Newsom knows it. They're not failing, they're succeeding. This chaos is by design. Why is Newsom desperate to control the Guard? Because he wants to pull them back. Let the riots grow, let the city burn, blame Trump, and stay in power.
First, from The Guardian, California's Gavin Newsom demands Trump withdraw National Guard troops from LA. In fact, they're actually expanding the riots. There's an expected riot tonight, and several other cities are preparing to riot. Welcome to the formal summer of Love 2.0, I suppose. Now, I've got a bunch of videos I want to show you and break down exactly what's going on. Now, I want to show you this right here. Proof that it's an invasion. Many of you have already seen this photo, but I've personally experienced these moments. This is a man on a dirt bike waving a Mexican flag amid thick black smoke, the LAPD standing back. Now, it's hard to know when photos are from yesterday or videos, or whether or not it's just someone pulling old footage. And right now, there are a lot of old videos circulating where people claim it's new. The thing is, this photo doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this photo is from yesterday, a year ago, or 2 years ago. The point is, for as long as I can remember, the far left is not allegiant to the United States, but to Mexico, largely because they want to see the U.S. destroyed. But let me tell you, I was in San Jose during protests against Donald Trump in his first term. They were wearing Bernie shirts. Many of them were flying Mexican flags, and they were saying, "Make California Mexico again." What people need to understand, just because someone is granted American citizenship doesn't mean they have allegiance to the United States. And for the people who are born of Mexican parents who care more about their Mexican heritage and the Mexican country, American citizenship is a formality. They were born here. They don't know anything different, but their culture, their family ties, the views, everything they believe in is Mexico. So they wave Mexican flags and they talk about Mexican-American war, and they say America is occupying our land and we want it back. And this is what you see. J.D. Vance posting a Trump truth. This moment calls for decisive leadership. The president will not tolerate rioting and violence. President Trump posted, a once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi in coordination with all other relevant departments and agencies to take all such action necessary to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. Order will be restored. The illegals will be expelled and Los Angeles will be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Let me just tell you this, my friends. A large portion of the Los Angeles population is not American. Their children are. And this is what I have warned about for some time that is happening. Let me play this video for you. For those that are just listening, they're burning an American flag while waving a Mexican flag. And a man says, "This is not my flag." And then he says, "Green, white, and red." Mexico, that's my flag. I don't believe Posse Comitatus plays a role right now. And Donald Trump can invoke the Insurrection Act. Why? Non-citizens and individuals, whether citizen or otherwise, with foreign allegiance, are attacking our law enforcement. We got ourselves an invasion. But you know what? Democrats are never going to acknowledge that. They're not going to say it. So what do?
You want to know what this is really about? It's all about power. And the American people, they're being gaslit into believing they're racist for noticing the house is on fire. Say what you want about Trump, but at least he's calling this what it is, an invasion and insurrection. And the man is not bluffing. He's calling in DHS, defense, AGs, and if Newsom won't act, Trump will.
Here's a video. I believe it's from Cam Higbee. He says the other side of the overpass, entire fleets of California Highway Patrol vehicles are being annihilated by rioters. You can see in this video, several police SUVs have their windows smashed. And I believe there's another video where they're set on fire. Los Angeles Scanner posted these videos showing the Waymo fires. Take a look at this. Several vehicles. Waymo vehicles were stopped. They smashed out the windows. They smashed the sensors and they set them on fire. Donald Trump says Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass should apologize to the people of LA for the absolutely horrible job that they have done. And this now includes the ongoing LA riots. These are not protesters. They are troublemakers and insurrectionists. Remember, no masks. I showed this from J.D. Vance already. Gavin Newsom calls Trump's National Guard deployment unlawful, demands troops be pulled back.
So Trump sending in the National Guard to help the people of LA is unlawful, but the people who are illegally in LA burning down the city, attacking police officers, that's okay. This is totally insane. This isn't a riot. This is a war over who controls the soul of the country. Guys, flags don't lie. And when yours is burning in the street, you better believe someone's already decided you don't belong. So if you're done watching your country get torched in the name of tolerance, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not scared of the truth, and drop a comment if you think Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act before it's too late.